the text of the Quran, like all religious texts, including the Bible, has been misused, misinterpreted, or accurately interpreted, depending on who you talk to. From a historian perspective, how accurate do you think the Quran is, for example?
Well, I think the Quran has a number of problematic historical issues, the chief of which is that Surah 4:157 denies the historical crucifixion of Jesus. And so there's ambiguity as to what's going on in that text when it says that Jesus was neither killed nor was he crucified. And I think that really paints the historical reliability of the Quran into a corner, in that, like I said before, Pierce, if there's one thing that even the most skeptical scholars historically will say, if they say we really can know not that much about Jesus of Nazareth, they will admit and say what we can know is that he did die under the reign of Pontius Pilate, the governor of Judea at that time, that he was indeed crucified. And so I find that the Quran has a number of very problematic historical issues. And then ultimately, as a Christian, the Quran seems to talk about what I believe, talks about the Torah and the gospel multiple times, and seems to fundamentally not understand what the Torah and the gospel are. Particularly, I would highlight verses like chapter 5, verse 46 and 47, which has this chain of custody where it says that Allah sent, that God sent following in the footsteps Jesus, the son of Mary, to confirm the Torah which came before him, and that he gave the gospel, which in the Quran uses the same terminology for the revelation of the Quran, that it has guidance and light, and that the gospel preceded the Torah for instruction in righteousness. And then verse 47 of chapter 5 of the Quran actually addresses me as a Christian. It says, let the people of the gospel judge by what God has revealed therein, being the gospel, and whoever does not judge by what God has revealed, then it is he who's the defiantly disobedient. And so I find a problem with the Quran in that it confirms the Torah and the gospel, and it tells me as a Christian in chapter 5, verse 46 and 47, to judge by the gospel. However, Pierce, when I judge the Quran by the gospel, I find that the Quran does not understand what the gospel is or says. And ultimately, I would say, if the Quran is true, and I need to take it seriously to not be one of the defiantly disobedient, as it says, and I judge the gospel by using the gospel, I judge the Quran, I find that the Quran is hugely problematic historically, but also in that it simply does not understand either what the Torah or the gospel are, or what Christians actually believe.